so your front door goes that the rest of us are you're a wee bit protected from that, and we don't not all going, oh, what was that? So once I can hear Sarah, then I will mute and kind of get out of the way. But I just wanted to reiterate again that we're really looking forward to hearing about buy local. Hugely, hugely important. But first of all, it's over to Sarah from Hutchison International, who's just going to tell us a little bit about what's happening with them, why they're sponsors this evening, and then she will hand over to Tim. So Sarah, over to you.
Thank you. Just as you said that, my doorbell went, so apologies if there's any background dogs barking. I'm just quickly going to share my screen with everybody because I have shared a few slides. First one being with a big picture of me, because I've not joined one of these webinars before, and I'm new to the Dundee business community, so I thought a little introduction might be helpful for everyone. The reason that I'm new to the Dundee business community is because I've spent around about the last 15 years working for digital marketing agencies in Edinburgh. I worked for two of the big networks there, and Publicis and the Dentsu Aegis network. In between those roles, I spent a couple of years down in Dunfermline working as European Head of Marketing at Canvas Holidays, which led me nicely to my Head of Marketing role with Hutchison Technologies, who I joined on the 1st of June. So yes, I was the daft person that took a new job in the middle of lockdown. But so far, so good. 2 months under my belt, and I think that I'm getting the gist of everything, even with getting to know everybody remotely. So a little bit about Hutchison's. Hutchison Technologies launched in 1991. And it was launched by our CEO, Bruce Hutchison. And to this day, we're still a family-run business. So Bruce brought his brother Mark in as our technical director, and even to today, they're both hands-on involved in the running of the business. Hutchison Technologies specialises in innovative technology solutions, which sounds very confusing, but it can be distilled down to sort of 5 key offerings, which is audiovisual, lighting, access control, smart cards and wearables, and data and telecoms. And we offer these services in a range of combinations across a whole range of verticals. So health and fitness is our biggest vertical, as you can see from a lot of the brands on the left-hand side of the screen there. But we also work with retail brands and hospitality and leisure. And it was Hutchison Technologies' sisters company, Hutchison International, who's actually run alongside Hutchison Technologies since 1991 as a supply chain management offering. But it was the agility and the opportunity, opportunity is the wrong word, but the situation that COVID presented allowed Hutchison International really to come into its own, because we were really keen to support the COVID quest and find a way that we could help supply particularly PPE offerings to the local and national businesses. One of the things that Hutchison International has really worked hard to establish is a quality, accredited, reliable supplier network, predominantly in China. And that's something that we worked really hard to maintain. And we were able to use that network to quickly pivot, like a number of businesses did, to provide PPE. But again, I think a lot of businesses were able to move quickly, find suppliers in China that were claiming to be accredited but actually didn't check out, and so there was a lot of bought goods that weren't being able to be used. At Hutchison International, we worked really hard to vet those suppliers to make sure that the accreditations they claim to have are real and valid, and that we were able to qualify them, that the products are of a quality that we are happy with, that they're at a price that can be affordable for buyers, and that made us a really reliable supplier in the UK. So we were able to supply to the NHS, to local government, and other private businesses off the strength of that sourcing network. It's been really exciting because we've been endorsed by the NHS and the Scottish Government recently. If you've been reading the papers over the last couple of weeks, we were in the Courier over the weekend, and we were in the Scotsman last week. So we're getting credit for the way that we've been working. A lot of that was talking about the agreement that we made with RBS to help finance the deals to ensure that the NHS could buy through our supply chain, but not have to lay out the money before the goods were in their hands. So the press release that was out last week was talking about that. And that's really been validation for the way that the business has pivoted to allow us to meet the demand that's out there, but not only provide that for the time that COVID is around, but for this to become a sustainable part of our business moving forward. And that's what we're exploring now is how does this carry on, and how do we carry on using the learnings that we as a business have made to allow us to keep this as part of our business offering moving forward. So in a nutshell, that is Hutchison's and myself. And I know, Alison, you mentioned I was passing to Tim. I think David was expecting me. So I will pass to whoever is ready to take on the baton.
I'm happy to go.
Excellent. I'll stop sharing.
Thanks, David. Sorry about that.
It's okay, it's not a problem. Let me just share my screen. Okay, can everybody see my little Hungrrr guy?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for inviting myself and Hungrrr along this evening. I'm going to give an overview of what who Hungrrr are and how COVID has affected our business positive, and how we've impacted our clients' businesses in a positive way in a situation that largely has been quite terrible for the hospitality industry over the last few months. So here we go. So what is Hungrrr? Okay, Hungrrr is a world-class food ordering system. We work in Canada, the Caribbean, the US, Ireland, Spain, Israel, and soon hopefully Dubai. So we're not just sort of basing ourselves in the UK, although a large portion of our client base at the moment is very much UK based. Our ordering system gives businesses, restaurants, takeaways, pubs, bars, hotels, room service, etc., table ordering, delivery collection, the power of our technology into their hands for their customers to place orders efficiently through their own branded app. So it's built to increase revenue of the businesses that we work with, and a large number of them with regards to the restaurant takeaways are battling the aggregator marketplace apps such as Just Eat, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, who take an extortionate amount of money off each order, but also add on a fee for the privilege of the customer using it as well. So they're getting two bites of a cherry, and the restaurant takeaways are really just creating turnover rather than profit. So it utilizes the technology that was born out of MTC, and I'll go into that in a moment. We are a flat fee system, so as I mentioned, the aggregators are very much driven towards percentage. If you're on a legacy percentage, you could be lucky to be sitting around about 14–15%, but most of the clients that we talk to nowadays, you're looking at 20 to 35+% of every order going to the aggregator, going to Just Eat, going to Deliveroo, etc. So as I say, that's a large amount of money going out from their business every time an order is placed through those marketplaces. So we modeled ourselves on a flat fee, so there will be no commission paid to us at all on any of the orders. Everything's branded, their brand. As you can see, there's a local client on my screen, Taza. We've got a number of local clients, Taza, Giddy Grill. During COVID, at the very start of COVID, Les Turriff came to us knowing that their business was turning into a different, a different entity due to restaurant takeaways, etc., all being shut down, and that's their primary business. So we were able to launch Les Turriff very quickly onto our platform and get selling to the general public, and they have done phenomenally well. So it would be, it was a shame that they're not on here tonight. It would have been great to have a testimonial from them, but obviously without breaking confidentiality, it very much has run their business through the whole period. So built and backed by industry professionals, MTC. I'm one of the co-founding directors of the MTC and associated companies, and we were formed in 1999 by my business partner and managing director, Mike and Alan. We came together in sort of 2004, 2005 and created MTC as it is today. So we've got a team of around about 150 to 170 people in MTC and servicing clients like Hilton worldwide, QuickFit, Tesco, Brewdog, etc. So it was built to on our technology of our e-commerce expertise, and it's very much support all the way through it. So Hungrrr team itself, we've got a dedicated team, and Hungrrr does stand on its own 2 feet. It is its own entity, spun out of MTC. So we've got an aftercare team, so dedicated to support, an online portal for our clients to use should they require to log anything with us, so everything can be tracked. So all of our clients need, just relax on the basis that actually they know they're going to get the support from us should they need it. It's been a difficult time for everyone, including us. Our processes have had to adapt and how we worked through COVID due to the sheer demand. During the COVID period, our inquiries increased in excess of 450% in 1 month. Our sales went up by around about approximately 400%, again in 1 month. That was from March to April, and that carried on in May and June. So we've had to adapt ourselves in that, and bringing on board new people and new support staff to maintain the level of support and things our clients deserve. The system itself has, it's about putting the power back into the hands of the operators, away from the aggregators. As I say, it's predominantly sort of targeted at restaurant takeaways initially. However, we do all of Brewdog's delivery, collection, and order to table functionality through all of their bars. We're rolling out their 100 and odd bars worldwide at the moment. So marketing is very important, as we've just heard from Sarah, as well as head of marketing with Hutchison's. We allow our clients to have full access to all their database. So Just Eat, Deliveroo, Uber, all these guys, they hide the clients as best they can. They're not the restaurant takeaways clients. They are their clients. All you're doing as an operator, as a restaurant on their system, is providing a service of delivering food to them on their behalf on it. So we allow our clients to have full access to that database, to manipulate it, to pull the data out, to import into marketing suites, etc., like MailChimp and everything. But we also have built-in campaign capabilities, digital marketing campaigns, as well as push notification capabilities within our system as well. So you can increase the data capture, build your own customer database, and give the ability on the system for your clients to create an account and reorder their favorite dishes at a touch of a button, so they're not having to go through the menu every time. We've got a loyalty program built in, and automations, as I've already said, of push notifications there. So there's two ways of doing the system: app/website. The order comes through to the order terminal and then gets interjected into the business's POS system. We have a number of POS systems that we work with. So if anyone that is listening to this later on is in this sector and would like to discuss whether or not it can link with their POS, just give us a shout. And then once it's gone to the POS, it then goes to the kitchen printers to print out, to tell them what they've got to prepare, and then it gets delivered to the client. That's fully integrated. However, a large portion, about maybe 80-85% of our clients are actually standalone and don't put into the till system at this time. It's starting to come down. More and more people are starting to do it now. So the process is very, very much the same. Order on the app or the website, through to the Hungrrr order terminal, and then through to your clients. So the order terminal in this process is always very much key. Customer journey. So how does it work for the customer? So they open your app. They go to your order URL, order now URL, and they place their order. They open up, they see your menu, your offering, drinks, and so on, and add to the basket. Sorry, they find their store, and then if you're a multiple store operator, you can actually pick the closest one to yourself. If you're a single store operator, then obviously it will be the one store, and then you get into your menu. Build your menu up, your order, add to basket, just like you would do in a normal e-commerce scenario, and then pay for it. The only difference between table ordering and delivery collection flow, or table room service, I should say, is that you're selecting either a room number or a table number for it to be either taken to, or they'll some of our clients will shout out the order number for you to go and collect at a collection point. Checkout process wise, so available options from our system is on the checkout is that they can change the quantity as you would expect. They can apply voucher codes at the checkout as well. So full coupon code capability built in. We also built in during COVID at the very start in March, very early on, a few of our clients were asking to give NHS workers discounts, and how could they ensure it was just going to be used by NHS. So we built in a functionality within our coupon code system to allow you to designate the email address that you're giving that offer to. So anyone with an @nhs.net email address, when they log in or on their account, would be able to redeem that code. So we adapted to the situation, and because we're an own company by ourselves, and we develop the system ourselves and with our own developers in-house, we're able to adapt to our clients' wishes as best we can. Not always. We weigh up what we're being asked. You can add a note to the store to driver. Please don't knock. The baby's asleep. Leave it on the step and ring the doorbell. We are self-isolating. All those sort of things were happening throughout the whole time of COVID, which was very useful. Loyalty system, you can redeem at a certain point depending on how you set it up. You can either set it up that they can redeem at any point, or you can set a limit on it so they can redeem the loyalty points against a future order any time. The restaurant's journey itself, so the order arrives through the terminal or into the POS system, and out it pops in the printers. Pending orders are displayed in the list, and the alert on our order terminal is an audible alert. So it's not just a case of it pops up on the screen and people miss it. It actually tells you, hello, I've got an order here. So it allows your team, when they're on a busy night, to react to it. The order's printed on a thermal printer. That's fairly boring and fairly straightforward. And then the order leaves. So the delivery process. So orders can be assigned to a driver and for dispatch if you choose to have that functionality. A number of our clients do, and we're currently working with a company, a very well-known company in the Caribbean called Subway, to run their whole delivery collection interface for all the Subway stores in the Caribbean region, and they're using this functionality. Driver's location can be tracked on the app as well. Now that could be at store or the customer on it if they wish. And the driver functionality allows them to sort of view the orders assigned to them. They can get the directions, and at a touch of a button, without having to endanger life of playing around, pull over, touch of a button, call the customer, say, look, I'm finding it hard to find you. Or they can call the store, again, at a touch of a button, and say, look, I can't find this customer, can you phone them? If the order hasn't been paid for online, which is rare at the moment, there's only a few of our clients that currently have cash switched on. Most of our clients have gone to card only. Then the driver will collect the money at the doorstep, and will put into the app exactly the amount they've collected. So at the end of the night, the business owner can reconcile the orders that have gone with driver A and driver B and C, and make sure that they've got the money that they're due. It's all backed up by an online dashboard that the business owners and admin people that have access to it can go to the dashboard. So it gives them insights and understanding in a meaningful way, so that they can actually see what their trends are. They can see what their busy times. So at a glance, you can identify your highest value customers. We break down at every time slot, so 30 days period, the last 30 days, the last month, this month, so on. The ability to turn around and see which ones are your best customers, and the data is all held again for them to manipulate. Current sales reports. So you've got a sales report for today, live on screen if you wish to keep an eye on it, if from afar, home or in the business at any point. And we've got clients ranging from 15 to 100 plus grand a month revenue through it, depending on what type of business they are and what they're doing. It's all broken down into sales channels, so we know exactly what's coming from the website, what's coming from iOS app, and what's coming from the Android. We know exactly how they're paying, cash versus card, and we know the split between delivery, collection, table ordering, room service, if you're offering all the mediums in your business. So it's giving you the ability to track your return on investment. It's quite amazing that our sort of top price you're looking at is about £150 a month on it, and quite quickly we've had clients phoning us up delighted in how fast they've managed in the first few weeks or even first week of opening to actually more than pay for our system, and that they're making more money than they were when they were using the aggregator apps. As we discussed, marketing is very important. So direct marketing to the phones, push notifications. So at the touch of a button, you can send a global notification. So right now, if a client wanted, we can log into their system on their behalf, type in the message they want, and send it to every single person that has the app on their phone, giving them an offer. Tuesday night special offer. It's quiet. Here's 10% off, free delivery, or whatever it is you need. You can preset the campaigns. So if you know it's going to be a sunny Friday, you've got a beer garden, you can put an offer on it saying, come in, use table ordering and get, buy 2 cocktails and get 1 free. We can also send specific notifications to people that are around geographically, select an area, and as you can see on my screen on the right hand side on the dashboard, is selecting the zone that you want to send it to, and the system will automatically tell you how many Android devices in there in that zone and how many iOS. I think if I look very carefully, that's 601 in that zone there of Android devices and over 1,000 iOS devices. So you can then, if you're a multi-store operator, target a specific group in a specific area with a specific offer. So that allows you to make your messaging more appealing and attractive, as well as adding on graphics to it. So you can put a little graphic of an offer on there. Delivery zones, if you are doing delivery zones, we again, like the previous screen that you saw with the notifications there, you can draw your zone. You can zoom right in and say, well, actually, this is a crossroads that we don't go beyond. Anything beyond that is would be collection only. So you can actually set your zones up without having to use postcodes. I know that Just Eat use postcode. So if you're sitting in a DD4 postcode and actually you don't deliver to DD46, but actually you deliver to DD4 3, then on Just Eat, that won't work. You have to deliver to DD46 as well, whereas our system is you just draw it round. A comparison that we were sent by one of our clients who wants to remain anonymous but allowed us to use this is 2 comparative competitors and ourselves. So you're looking at Scoffable and Just Eat here, and for what they've spent out in a whole year for 2019, Scoffable's fees were 11.84%, Just Eat 14.67. They're on a legacy deal with Just Eat, so they haven't gone up above the 15-20% mark. Hungrrr, in comparison, was only 2 2%, 2.04% in our fees. That is the power of us giving local people, local businesses, the ability to take power back from these aggregators and into their own hands. It's very important that from Hungrrr's perspective is that we're trying to educate the restaurant and takeaway, the bars, and their own clients. Just Eat, you're just getting the same people ordering time and time again. So why be penalized by using one of those platforms when it's the same customers? Because you're giving them good service, you're giving them good food, and they will come back to you time and time again. We all have our regular Chinese, Thai restaurant, Indian fish and chips place that we all go to, because we're creatures of habit. And that's what we tended to have found through this system, is that once you start to convert people, they're quite happily will go over to your own apps, will order from you directly, and will benefit from actually not having to get charged an extra 50 pence or so for the privilege of using that platform. And you, the business owner, makes more money. So that is Hungrrr in a very short time scale, and I hope I've met my timings. Have I, Alison?
David, everybody knows me, knows that I'm like, time? Really? What? But you're absolutely fine. Yeah, not a bother at all. Thank you so much.
Okay,
I swore I wasn't just going to jump in, didn't I? But I think it's only fair. No, it's fine. I'm not going to disappear and leave you to go, heck, Tim. But Tim's already, his camera's on.
I'm on.
Yeah, good. Okay, go for it, Tim.
I'm Tim from Scott Brothers. I don't have a lovely presentation because I'm not that technically minded. Obviously, with Scott Brothers, we're the butchers. So our kind of COVID journey has been very different to a lot of businesses, because we kind of exploded online, which we weren't expecting. Our online store was just a hangover store. It didn't really do anything. It did a bit of money, but it wasn't a fantastic store. And then obviously March happened and everyone started buying online. So we had to kind of quickly and proactively look at our website and look at the consumer journey just on the website. So there's a lot of things which there's old information on there that should have been taken off years ago, or not years ago, but the Christmas information is still on the website. We realized that the weights weren't unified. There was loads of kind of little bits and disjointed pieces of information that we kind of had to very, very quickly adapt the website to be more informative for the customers locally and nationally. And one of the key things that we tried to maintain was 48-hour cutoff on all deliveries. So for both national and local, we wanted to maintain 48 hours, just because consistency for local customers is key. If we went to, some of the multiples went to 2 weeks, someone went to 21 days. Two of our online competitors went to almost 30 days. And we just didn't want to hit those kind of dates for customers, because it just meant that we could supply. The supply was there. Because we lost a lot of the wholesale trade, we still had all the butchers on site, so they could still do all the cutting. They could do all the domestic cutting. It's a slightly different process. So yeah, we had quite a lot of different changes that we had to go through. Some in the factory. So Scott Brothers itself is 3 stores. There's a factory in the back. There's a commercial baker and a commercial kitchen upstairs. There's 3 deli takeaways within the stores as well. So we kind of, to supply the local trade is not just online. We do, it's fairly multifaceted. So our COVID journey was very interesting because it was such a quick change. So just online, we went from selling a reasonable amount to doing our yearly trade in a month, just as online sales, which is for us was massive. So obviously the packing involved in doing those kind of things. So yeah, like it was just the whole journey throughout the business was very, it was quite stressful just for a few weeks until everyone got to the swing of things. So online, we sorted the consumer journey from entering the online store all the way through to the final purchase, and how we we simplified it in terms of the consumer journey. So each page is slightly more clear than it used to be. I mean, I don't know if any of you have used their online store, but it used to be a little more convoluted, but it's definitely a cleaner store. And we simplified all the weights. One of the problems we had was we had old metric weights, and we've got old money weights and new money weights, and everyone, and our demographic in store is over 60s predominantly. Obviously, the online demographic is a lot younger, so they work in new money. In store, they work in old money. So we had to figure out the best way to do it. So, and rather than having mixed weights, because mixed weights is problematic because some people don't understand mixed weights. So you can have £1, 454 grams, and some people understand that, some people don't. So online is all in grams and kilos. And in store, we predominantly work in pounds and ounces, just because the customers like pounds and ounces. So yeah, online it's a lot cleaner now. And then in store, we had to do a lot in terms of, because obviously we've got local trade in store. There's a lot of, we had 3 stores. For some of COVID, we closed down the Nethergate store, so the town store, just because there was no traffic through town. But we kept 2 stores open. One was Brook Street and one was Strathmartin Road. All the staff from the Nethergate store were deployed within either Strathmartin Road or Brook Street to help cope with the increased just traffic of people coming through, because there was a period where the only thing people could do was go out to shops. So it was a day trip out to just go to a shop. So we had to modify the shops as well. So they're all on one-way systems, which we've never done before. So we had to run one-way systems, and then obviously you have the staff now have to police the amount of people in the shops, and they have to do. So we had to go the consumer journey as we saw it. We had to do online and in store. So yeah, so it was a massive kind of change for us in terms of our consumer and how we supply the local trade consistently. The biggest change for us was we have 5 delivery vans every day. And when we were doing wholesale trade, it's easy because you just drop off vans to go to 5, 6, 7. Each van will do, say, 10, 15 drops, but they're hotels, restaurants. You know where they are, and the drivers know the same run. We were doing, some runs were doing 55, 60 domestic drops. So we had to start looking at route planners, which we'd never looked at before. There was no reason for us to have route planners. So, and we had to get the drivers, well, most of our drivers are retirees. It's just part-time work, so they can work 1 or 2 days a morning, 2 mornings a week. And then they had to start using sat-navs and iPhones. The app runs on iPhones, but so there was a technological hurdle for some of the drivers to try and understand how to navigate, because a lot of drivers assume they know where they're going. So if you're doing 60 drops, one of the problems we had with a few drivers at the start was the app would take you on a certain journey. So you'd go through DD3 up and round, and it would take you in a bigger loop. But some of the drivers would know certain drops. So what they would do was continually take themselves off the loop, and then they'd try and find their way back onto it, which is problematic at the start. So even just the drops were a new and interesting challenge, because we'd never kind of looked at that it's never been a problem before, so we'd never even had to look at that. And then the biggest thing for us, we went back to basics in terms of what we sold, because the biggest seller at the start was mints. Everyone was buying mints, because I think everyone wants comfort food right at the start. So we started selling fruit and veg, which we sold a bit, but it wasn't a big seller. So we started doing essential boxes, fruit, veg online, and for retail in the shops. And we sell ready meals anyway. So, but we started selling ready meals online. This started throwing up problems in terms of our packaging. So the whole COVID journey has been difficult. Well, not difficult. It's been different, because it's like a rabbit hole of different problems that kind of get thrown up. So our biggest problem for a while, especially as the temperatures were going up, and the whole of April seemed to be the sunniest April of all time. So our packaging wasn't really designed. Well, Parcel Force is who the company we use for the parcels, and they obviously had a massive increase in the amount of traffic going through Parcel Force. And our packaging was designed for 24 hours maximum. So what we had was a foil lined bag, a box with a foil liner in it, and we put 8 gel packs in, the frozen gel packs. And Parcel Force obviously were struggling, so our parcels had been delayed to say 36 hours, which meant that some of the frozen product that was going, or some of the fresh product, was past its best by the time it arrived. So we've had to look at eco packaging now. So we're moving to eco packaging. So it's a recyclable liner, recycled denim with we've got some recyclable gel packs going in there. Yeah, it's just been a very, very different journey for us, because every part of the COVID journey has created a new. We've created new solutions to each part of throughout this, and obviously our internal structures are slightly better. So we're slightly more robust. Our online sales are more robust, and our way of dealing with online is better. So we've kind of had to solve those local solutions in terms of delivery drivers. Yeah, it's just been a very different journey. I mean, we've even looked at our social media. So our social media, again, was just an afterthought. A lot of the stuff we've looked at recently has been stuff that you have to have Facebook, you have to have Instagram, you have to have Twitter, you have to have everything, because it's just the stuff you do. You have to have a website. But we've had to look at our social media and make it more cohesive. One of the things we had was it's very disjointed. There's about 4 or 5 people who would post on Facebook or Instagram, and the content was a bit disjointed. It was very, very disconnected. So if you look in the past few months, our social media, the colorway and the kind of the aesthetic of the whole social media has become more cohesive and tighter. It should be more consistent. It's probably not as consistent as it should be, but still is more consistent than it was. But yeah, so our online presence is more robust and better. Our web shop, our in-store experience is better for consumers. And because of the way we're packaging or moving into packaging, the product that customers will receive will be as good as it when it left the factory, because it just wasn't for a while, just because of the packaging we were using. And again, the packaging we were using for online sales, because our online sales weren't they weren't amazing. So it was just we got these foil liners, they did the job, but we've realized they don't do the job as well as they probably should, and not as well as our competitors. So yeah, it has just been a very, very interesting journey, and for us and for our customers as well, because the interesting thing for us will be Christmas, because that'll show whether we retain the business that we've had over the last, what is it, 3-4 months. So because as more and more shops open, some of our online trade will drop, just because people have more choice and they'll go out, and that's to be expected. But Christmas will be the one where I think if we can see a marked increase in sales or pre-orders, I think, and for us, it will be about retaining a lot of the trade the local trade that we've gained. I think people have realized that our prices are not much different to supermarkets, because there's always been a misnomer that beef prices are more expensive in butchers and they're cheaper in supermarkets. I think as people have been forced to a point to come in-store or shop online, they've realized that our prices are just a match for supermarket prices, not the deep discount prices, but the standard supermarket prices. And I think because of the way we've coped with the deliveries, it's been beneficial for our customers, because we had obviously we've started doing contactless delivery for people who were shielding, well, anyone that wanted contact contactless delivery. A lot of people didn't realise we did deliveries as well, which is either locally or nationally. So for a lot of people, it's a new experience as well, especially for some of the demographic that's older. So they've never shopped online, because why would you shop online if you always go down to the butchers? So for us, I think Christmas will be the big show of whether we've managed to retain the local business that we've done. So yeah, I don't know. Questions are probably easier, but yeah, our journey has been it's been almost daily looking at what we've done and trying to improve each incremental part of everything we do within our online trade, our in-shop trade, our wholesale trade, because as some of that comes back, obviously there's different challenges for the wholesale traders as they start to come back online, and how we can mitigate any problems they've got or help them kind of moving forward. So yeah, like if you've got any questions, it's probably easier just to ask questions. I don't have slides, so yeah.
No, that's totally perfect. I've definitely got some questions, and I would just encourage everybody to, if you want to ask a question, you don't have to put your video back on, but we might just, if you've got a question, put your hand up and we just ask you to come in and ask it. But I'll kick off and then we could see if that makes people feel less shy or not. I think both of you have talked a lot about the B2C sales, and it's obvious that that's been, a big driver, I think, to a lot of people's kind of online ordering. I was interested in whether there's a similar B2B market, or whether that, you feel that that's just going to go straight back to when we're allowed to do kind of the usual, wholesale trade, whether that'll just stay in its old format. And then the other question I've got is about local produce. So I think, we've heard about tariffs and how that's been, I think, a big driver for them, and obviously Tim for the Scotch produce, if that's even the right word to use, and then that local or fruit and veg. Has there been quite a bit of feedback from people that they're looking for local produce? So I don't know who Tim, do you want to give it a bash, and then David can come in as well? Is that all right?
Yep.
So all our beef, lamb, and pork is Scottish. So it all comes through Forfar. So it is as local as you can kind of get. So we've always had the provenance of the beef, especially in the lamb. So that's for some people it's a driver. It depends on where the consumer is coming from. So some people want discounts. So as pockets have been tightened, especially if they're furloughed, you're losing 20%. So some people just want cheap product, and that's fine. So and some people want provenance. So we offer aged beef. So if you want that kind of provenance and story behind the beef, we offer that product. But we also offer just mince. We offer beef mince, steak mince. We offer diced shoulder. We offer diced everything. So and ours, because it's mainly Scottish produce, we've always had that local. We always buy local. Always comes through Forfar. So we can tell you the farms that everything comes from. So it is as local as you can get. We started selling more veg. We used a different veg supplier to less tariffs, but we do stock local veg. So our strawberries come from Arbroath. They now come from East Grand Farm in Carnoustie. So a lot of our stuff is as local as you can get. So, and we've always tried to maintain as much kind of story behind the products as possible. Yeah, I mean, that's the...
Alison, I'm not hearing you.
Oh yeah, because I was on mute. Damn, because there was stuff going on in the background. Sorry, thanks, David.
Okay.
What I was saying was, well, actually, it's good because I started off talking nonsense, so I can rephrase myself. Wholesale, are you expecting that that will kind of recover, but will they will it maybe just go back to a fairly straightforward wholesale model, or do you see that they are now wanting to use similar kind of behaviours to consumers? They're wanting to order online. They're wanting, just a different model.
For wholesale in general, I don't think it'll go back for quite a while, as the same volumes as it was before. There are a lot of people who want to go out and eat, and obviously there's the eat out to help out, which should be beneficial to most restaurants and bars. The problem is there's still a demographic of people who don't want to go out to restaurants or bars because they're scared of everything that's going on. So, and that's an understandable worry. So I don't think the volumes will be there, and especially with some people are looking at a 30% capacity, some people are 50% capacity, so they can't even hit the same numbers. So for us, I don't think wholesale, we're getting wholesale back, and we've got some more takeaways. So some of the wholesale customers have turned into takeaways, and some are takeaway and eat in. But I think it'll take 18 months or so before those you see a real kind of lapse back to how it was before. But as far as I'm aware, most of our wholesale customers are still happy just to order by phone. We take email orders as well. It's just easier for a lot of people just to phone up, say what they need, because you get very specific cuts. It's easy for you to just call up and explain exactly what you want, the weights you need, how it's packaged, that kind of stuff. So for us, I don't think we'll go back for a few months at least. And in terms of additional kind of ordering methods, most of them are fairly happy just to phone up. That's not to say we wouldn't look at it if it was a driver for customers, but at the moment it doesn't seem to be for the wholesale customers.
Okay, David.
Yeah, we're getting a few inquiries sort of from clients about creating wholesale elements to their business. We've got a franchise sort of chicken business down in near London, sort of Peri Chicken, who has during this period switched on a wholesale capability for his franchisees to order from, to make it slicker on it. We've been discussing a few other ones. I think Tim's right. Consumer trust in the health sector needs to come up a bit before they start to go out. So I think it'll be a gradual sort of get back to form of what was normal before to the new future on it. Certainly from Hungrrr's perspective, we're able to handle B2C, B2B models. It's not a problem. The scenario is exactly the same for it. So we're poised and ready to speak to all these businesses about it. Les Tariff, the Clementines of Broughty Ferry, will they go back and go back to traditional? I think there'll be an element of that, yes. But I also think there's going to be an element of, now that they've got it, there will be a certain number of people who will just continually order it. We in our household, we didn't get milk delivered prior to COVID. Now we're using Kerr's Dairy, another local business, and we're getting our yogurts delivered by them as well. And we're happy with that. So will we get that in our normal supermarket delivery? No, I think we'll stick with that. We're also using personally in our house Les Tariff as well for our fruit and veg, and we'll look to continue to do that. So I think there's a number of people will pick and choose certain elements that they'll do. They'll carry on ordering from Scott Brothers, Clementines, Tariffs, but there will also be that element of let's walk in and have that social distance contact that some people have been missing as well.
Well, you could tell my unmute button wasn't working there, couldn't you? Because I was going, I should just leave it on, and then if my husband goes to the fridge, he goes to the fridge. In the absence of anybody else with their hand up, I'm interested, when you look at Scott Brothers website, the photographs look amazing. So I'm guessing you just don't send, Scott around with these, mobile phone, and he takes a picture of a packet of mints, and then lo and behold, it goes online. And I guess so. how much of that did you have already in place, and how much of that did you have to sort? And I guess the same question for you, David, because you're bound to get, like, I think we're all having to act really fast. So, you'll get a business or a department in somewhere else that's like, right, okay, we've got a new product line, we have to get it online, and we're just going to put it online as it is. And then the consumer's like, I'm not buying that. So I'm just interested in what that process is like.
Yeah. From our side, it's very much driven by the client. A lot of time, it is food, and food's hard to take a photo of on it. So, it takes a specialty photographer to do it right. So a lot of our clients actually don't go for product imagery on it. They'll maybe do categorized images, so generic ones of stock images that we may have in our bank on it, or they'll supply one that's relevant to them, to us. But we are driven by them. The higher end clients, Brewdog, Yumi Sushi down in London, and a number of other ones will have already for their menus imagery that we can utilize and they can pass to us. But the general local restaurant takeaway generally don't. But when they're looking at it on a normal menu and they're opening it up, and it's very rare to have imagery on that element of it either. So you have to describe it. So your descriptions of your products are very important in that manner. But our system can cater for both, depending on what they want to do.
So a lot of the imagery is just, we had the imagery taken 2 years ago and last year for the website. So predominantly imagery we'd had created for us. So it is obviously all our products, and we'd taken it. So last year it was in an old jute factory, and then so it's. But there are probably 10 or 15 images from the start of this year which are actually taken on my phone. So we've done both recently. So for speed to get new products on. So in March and April we put on about 15 new products onto the website, just to kind of cope or to add variety to stuff people are ordering. And obviously photographers weren't coming out, and you can't just get a photographer out to take one picture and then go home. So we've got a light box at work. So it was taken on my phone. So if you can see them, I'll go through the website and see some badly taken pictures of livers one, but there are a few pictures on there. And the ready meals were, so when they went on originally, they were actually all taken on my phone as well. So yeah, we have a combination of the two, but the really, really nice pictures are not taken on my phone. So
they're probably all sitting on the homepage, are they? Yeah. Stuck them in with the really, really fab shots. The other thing is I guess a bit less of a buy local, but it's just a company culture and a people thing. We've all had to change, haven't we, so fast? And there's going to be people that are just not comfortable with either having to be really tech savvy or to be the new face of your business. Because it struck me, Tim, when you were talking about your delivery drivers going from round, into the Invercarse or whatever, your local wholesale trade is, to knocking on 60 consumers' doors. That's a very, very, very different role, isn't it, for them? And they can't be going, I can't find the number 5 in this street, and I'm going to fling your delivery at your door because I've got to get to the next loop. So I'm just interested in how you kind of had to take your people through that. And then David, the same question for you, but I guess it's down to that customer that's going, oh my, we have to have a Hungrrr app, and I'm not really very good with all this tech thing, and I can't work out where my orders are, and it's just a disaster. So how do we take people into this kind of fast-paced changing world?
Well, for us, luckily, most of our drivers are people anyway, so they like chat and that kind of stuff. There was a few drivers. Obviously, there was a period of time where some people were self-isolating and hadn't seen anyone for a long time. So some of the drivers would spend 20 minutes talking to them. So there was a bit of pairing them back and saying, look, 5 minutes is fine, but 20 minutes is excessive. But I think the main thing for the drivers is actually just doing 60 drops. Because going from 20 to 60 is massive. And doing domestic drops is a lot different. So a commercial drop, you've got a big crate, and you take the crate in, and one person signs for it, and it's pretty easy. Whereas the domestic drop, you're having to find flats, you're having to find houses. Some of the postcode areas for Dundee are massive, especially the rural postcode areas. So in between, near Errol, the postcodes are huge. So because we were just running postcodes, some of the drivers were getting lost for half an hour, 20 minutes, just trying to find a place rather than just the thing. So I think that the drivers adapted really, really well. So they were actually, because it's quite nice. I mean, April was amazing in terms of weather. So spending a whole day dropping deliveries off isn't particularly taxing when the weather's really, really nice. It's changing slightly now, but the drivers were amazing at how adept they were at adapting. It was, and then because the retail staff are used to dealing with customers, and they're used to dealing with customers who are unsure about what they want, about where they need to be, where everything is. So in terms of retail stores, our shops are really, really good. The office staff were probably the hardest hit at the start, because they went from again dealing with predominantly wholesale customers phoning up to dealing with phone call after phone call after phone call from people wanting to know every single thing that's on that we sell. Can they order from, and then so nationally we use Parcel Force, so there are obviously postcode restrictions. So within Dundee it's pretty easy. You take a wholesale customer and it's fine, because you know where they are, it'll get delivered, it's fine. But then we were having people in Aberdeen. So AB30 is restricted postcode, it's technically Highlands, but obviously if you're just in the office you don't know that. So I think they again were amazing at how quickly they adapted to the changes and the requirements of the customer requirements. But they definitely went through the kind of hardest transition, because it went from not hardly any phone calls, but kind of a constant streaming phone calls to just the phone not stopping. So, but they all kind of pulled together and managed amazing. We didn't really have to do anything in terms of helping them adapt. We've got new phone systems in. We helped us in the background, but the staff themselves are actually just pretty fantastic at what they do. So, which is testament to them, and actually nothing to do with anyone else.
David?
For our clients, we've got a mixture of tech savvy and non-tech savvy. But the beauty of the Hungrrr system is, once it's set up by our team, it can actually be very much standalone. They don't really need to interact on it other than the order terminal, accepting, rejecting the orders. If there is a price change or anything, we do a fair use policy of updates on it, as long as it's not multiple times a day, multiple times a week sort of thing, constantly every week. Then we're happy to help our clients out and go the extra mile on it. So those ones that maybe struggle a little bit, on the odd occasion, they'll email saying, can you update this for us? Could you update that price and that? Although they can actually log in and do it, we just get on with it. We do say though, if it's a quick change, they need to give us a little bit of a time to schedule it all in. But our guys are very good at picking things up, and they've gone the extra mile through the whole process and working extra hours and helping clients out, because they've known that a lot of these people it's their livelihoods at risk because they haven't got these solutions, and it has forced people to think about what is the next step. Although this and that, and I was interviewed by a couple of newspapers and so on recently, asking about the future of all this sort of sector. It was coming anyway. Just Eat has set up everything quite nicely, takeaway.com, Uber and all that, and people are getting used to doing that. However, the general public, not everybody did use it. They were picking up the phones and doing it, but they were getting maxed out. So but when you're getting back into social distancing, meeting your friends for a coffee and sitting down and ordering from table, that is a new concept that people are going to need to start embracing, because a lot of businesses have said, well, this is the only way we're going to take it to limit the social interaction between people. And that is going to start to be the norm. There was a giant chain who didn't fare well in press over the COVID period that ends in Spoons. they started doing table ordering a couple of years ago. We do all of Brewdogs, as I mentioned. That is starting to flow through into smaller outlets and stuff now because of COVID. But it was something that the society were beginning to start to get used to anyway. So I think it's just pushed things forward. There's ones that said we would never have gone with this. On the phone to me when I was speaking to them about it. COVID has forced our hands to look at what we're going to do, because we're not set up for that normally. And there's a few places that are traditionally sort of buffet. How are they going to work the buffet elements out of it? Because it is get up and go and help yourself and so on. So there's a group that we're talking to at the moment. They haven't quite worked out how they're going to do it, but they're looking at our system to potentially do it. So all this, it's people having to adapt now to a situation that they're in. That is necessary to do, and they're having to embrace, but they don't have to be scared of it, because we can help, and it is a very, very easy system. We've got online tutorials that are accessed by our clients when they're on board, videos and so on, and our own team are there to help them.
Brilliant. Okay, so I think, well, I'm conscious of a little bit of time, I suppose. So I think what we'll maybe do, if there's nothing that either of you want to add, I'll probably just do my thanks then. And I really like that what we finished on there was the story about how quickly people have adapted, and how I mean, you see that, don't you, that we have all massively changed in a really, I can remember on the 18th of March thinking, well, 3 weeks working from home, and then that'll be that, won't it? And now we're talking about Christmas and really hoping that not only are we kind of seeing the same levels, but I think people really, really have changed their habits, and hopefully we can just encourage everybody to keep on doing that, because businesses that are going to try and operate at 30% of their capacity are really going to struggle without us supporting them. And whether it's, places like Staybridge Sweets, actually, that our people are going to want their stir fry to put in the microwave at Staybridge, because they're not going to be able to just nip out and kind of do their usual choices. So yeah, I think the more that local businesses can buy local and support each other, and that the consumers carry on doing that, and the stories, I think, about that local produce are hugely important as well, aren't they? And just trying to make sure that we want everybody to buy. Parcelforce deliver to lots of places, don't they, Tim? But the other spoons have got nothing to do with you, do they? So, all the health warnings now. But yeah, thank you so much to both of you for coming on and sharing your story. I think it's going to be an important month, I think, August, isn't it, as those restaurants get the chance to use those vouchers, but then the schools go back. And what does all of that mean for us getting a little bit of normality? But it doesn't look like phase 4 is going to hit us anytime soon, and we were sort of hoping it was going to be imminent. But anyway, anything that we can do to kind of promote what you guys, or anybody else that's on the session, or anybody else that's part of the local business community that wants to get their message out, then please let the Chamber know. Thank you again to Sarah and Hutchison International, and to Vince for looking after us while Sarah's enjoying the Dundee fortnight off. I'm glad that the weather is improving for those people that have got their time off, because April was absolutely stunning, wasn't it? So but thank you very much to everybody that's joined in. And just a reminder, if you want to tell anybody that that they can see this on YouTube, it will be there before very long. So thanks again for all your time. Our next webinar is on Thursday morning. We've got Phil Prentice from Scotland's Towns Partnership coming on to talk about all of the work they're doing to support towns and virtual high streets, and try and get us all back using Forfar, Kirriemuir and Brechin and Broughty Ferry and all those high streets that are so important. So if you're going to be on that, I will see you there, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks very much, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.